What's up, folks? This is Moose, aka Big House. Man, I'm back once again. This is Neighborhood Frequency, and I am so excited today because we got some people out here that are making it happen in our community. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to get into it. I tell you what, we got some authors, we got some artists, we got some publishers, hanging around, and we got some all-American good people, by the way. So let me tell you that. So it's going to be kind of weird because really, you know what? I'm usually the host, but I'm not the host today. I'm co-hosting today. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm taking a backseat to this person that is, in my own words, a prayer warrior, one heck of a mom, a leader in the community, a humanitarian, and should I say, a beautiful songbird, by the way. Yeah. Moose, I can't carry a tune in a bucket, but this lady, she can bring the house down. Folks, let's hear it for Evelyn Ray.
Oh,
How are you, sweetheart?
wow. I'm good, dear. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know, right? What an introduction like that. How you doing, big bro?
You know what? I'm good. It's
Good to
Friday.
hear.
Michigan plays today. I'm a Michigan fan. Michigan plays today. So we're gonna get right into it. And a big weekend, you know.
Hey, hey, hey.
So do me a favor. I,
Hmm.
I, I got notes here. Yeah, I wrote down some notes the other day when we met briefly, but I don't think I can do it justice by introducing our panel of guests today better than you.
All right, all right. Well, first of all, we just want to thank you for inviting us to the platform, Neighborhood Frequency, and we're excited for this podcast and what it's doing to reach out to the community. And you're right, Lex, the gentleman is one of our favorite spoken word artists. He is here with us today. We've got young Master Rose Smith with his first publication. He's an author, and we're so excited about his publication. And we've got Sister Gloria Carter, who is no new person to our community. She and her husband Brian Carter have been actively involved in our community for years. And so, Big Moose, you've got some people here today that are seasoned veterans. But you know what? Meet the author, meet the artist, meet the publisher. And I say it backwards every time because it's meet the artist, meet the author, meet the publisher. I'm an artist myself, right? And the reason I started the platform was because I wanted other artists like myself who are what I call ourselves solopreneurs. You know what I'm saying? We've stepped out here on God in faith, putting our creative talents to work. And I wanted to share that platform with other artists such as myself who are self published, who have that talent, much like you will experience on today, and just create an atmosphere of safety, love, and support for them to share what God has put in them. So today we are blessed to have three of our participants on this Sunday coming March the 29th at Ujama Bookstore. We will be hosting the platform. We've got a publisher out of Jacksonville, Florida, who couldn't be with here today, Miss Sylvia Nixon, with Fearless Publishing. So we're excited. So thank you so much. With that all being said, you three people, I don't want to take up the time because you are all powerful in your own rights, but I will start with the lady in the house, Sister Gloria. You are
Yes.
just a phenomenal woman of God, and I'm going to hold up your book. I want you to just tell our audience about this publication and when you pushed it out, because this is like giving birth. I know it is. It's like giving birth to that first baby. Tell us about it. Tell us about yourself first. Tell the audience who you are and the inspiration behind your published work.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for having me on. Once again, my name is Gloria Carter, and I am my first author. Be a Glow Ministries is the name of our ministry slash business. And I wrote my first book. And this book is a book that was birthed, as you said, out of the presence of the Lord. The times that I use in prayer, I put some of those things together, and with the direction of the Holy Spirit, I did come with a prayer journal, and it is called the Glory Carrier. And the Glory Carrier, it is a prayer journey. I took my prayer journey as a child up until now, and then invited you on my journey in making your own journey.
Okay. I've got a question here. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mhm.
So your husband, who I know very well, dropped the book off last night at my house. Like he got, hey,
Okay.
I'm outside, man, right? And so I thumbed through it a little bit, and I saw where that you can take notes and write some different things down. Now, is it is everyone going through their own journey while they're reading the book? Are we Are we kind of following along with what kind of how you've represented things?
That's a
You,
great
you,
question.
that is a good question. Thank you for asking that. You read the journey that I've started taking you on, and then you pick it up from there and make your own journey. So you can follow along and add or start your own, especially when you come to the prayer of agreement. And there's 8 watches in prayer. Okay, there's 8 watches in the day. You'll find yourself in one of those watches. One, you should always pray and never cease. That's the word. But there's places in the watch that resonate with you, that brings you forward. And in those watches, then you will find yourself journaling about your own watch and what God has called you to say in your watch. And I give challenging questions after each chapter that would resonate with you, and then how do you take it from here?
All right, Miss
So,
Gloria, I have.
sorry, Evelyn. I
Okay,
apologize.
that's okay.
I, I apologize. I got no more. So, all right. So, and pardon my ignorance. First watch, is that like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning? Is that
You,
is that right?
that was good that you hit that, didn't you? Actually, that's the 4th watch.
Oh
So
God.
the first, in Christ, did you know, he says the evening and the morning is the first day. So your first watch is in the evening, actually.
Got you.
Give me 30 seconds to get there, and I will give you the first watch.
So, Evelyn, what were you thinking while she's looking it up? What was on
While
your
she's
mind?
looking it up, I think the fact that she has turned this into a journey and invited us on there, but she has a very powerful representation with the sunflower, and there's a reason for the sunflower. And so I wanted her to break that down for our audience
Okay.
because I
Yeah.
think the message that she has there is so powerful. Before we move to the next guest, yeah.
Okay. So the first watch is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. A lot of people resonate with the watch that I'm usually on, and that is the 8th watch, and that is the 3 a.m. to the 6 a.m. People think that's the beginning of the day. The beginning of the day is in the evening. We close down the day. When we close down the day, it's the start of a new day. And so, if you ever go back into Genesis, he says the evening and the day was the first day when he made heaven and earth. He took the darkness and made it to light. So, also, you said, did that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I've been trying to pull myself together. In the world, and so no, I've actually caught you on Facebook doing your 30-minute talk and all that. And one day you kind of my church that I just caught it, and I just said, I'm just gonna sit there and watch the whole thing, and you kind of were my church that day. And so I definitely appreciate it, right?
No, man.
So yeah, no, so that did answer my question. So I'm so interested about the sunflower question that Evelyn asked.
Okay. Sunflowers. I'm glad you asked. It's something, it's really a testimony to me because when I was younger, when me and Brian bought our first house, I was just in love with sunflowers. And I wanted to plant sunflowers everywhere. And the house was yellow. And I had a prominent lady that I really, really respected say to me, sunflowers are indicative. That's not, status. And I tucked that away. Be careful what we say to people. You never know what blockage you may have. And there's 2 blockages that God has unblocked for me. Was that I am a creative writer. And 2, that he has ordained that sunflower for me that I can share with others. And when we talk about the sunflower, in the book, it goes down the different roots and everything to the sunflower. But the sunflower follows the sun, the S-U-N, okay? We, as God's lilies in the field, we follow the S-O-N, okay? From sun up to sundown. And what God does in the sunflower is this. He gives us light. We get illuminated. We follow, and we bring beauty into the earth. And that's what each one of us do. We're light, we're salt, we're flavor, and we bring beauty into the earth. Our seeds are edible. Our seeds go into the ground and germinate and come up again. And that's what we are. That's what God wants to do in us. He wants us to be able to be light and salt in the earth. Allow ourselves to die in certain areas so our seed can go in the ground. But also when somebody comes and take part of you, they can be filled just after your kindness, your submission, your help. Whatever you do for Christ, that's what lasts.
Gloria,
And
thank you. I'm
oh, I
sorry.
was going to say one more thing.
I'm just,
I
go
get on
ahead,
that
go ahead.
sunflower.
I know, I see you. I see you. Go ahead.
Sunflowers are usually in clusters, and it's like thousands of different colors. But one thing I found about the sunflower as we were going along is they're a cow group, okay? Just like we are today, we have grouped together. And we're going to follow one direction. And when one person gets off, that the job of another sunflower, especially one that's taller and more mature, will point us back. And that's what God is doing today.
Wow.
Amen.
Awesome, awesome. So, Gloria, I thank you for that. It's very inspiring. But sometimes real life has to happen to us. Like, if I'm just kind of clicking along and I see this, like, why would I want to stop and read this? Like, what can I expect when I get this? How will you cause me to just stop and want to check out this sunflower? What is the thing you want people to take away from this book? I think that's the question I really want to ask. What do you want your readers to get from this book?
You have purpose, and you are planted to be drawn to give light and salt into the earth. And also, a lot of times people just don't know the direction of prayer and don't know what prayer does. Prayer and meditation is really a conversation. Teaching how to have a conversation, a practical one with the Lord. And I tell you, he listens and he will answer if you call on him. And then also, I talk about, okay, we got a lot of gentlemen on here, but you can understand this, okay? There's trimesters, just like pregnancy. There's trimesters, and then there's that burst where you give birth. And that's what God wants to do with you in prayer. Go through your trimesters, your seasons. As long as the earth remains in Genesis, it says there's seed time and harvest, winter, spring, summer, and fall. Know yourself in those seasons and know what you ought to do and know how to follow what to do when it's time.
All right, Chris, you got anything else
That's
for our
powerful.
looks? I know, right? She hit it there. Know what to do in your seasons. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, listen, Sister Gloria, we want to thank you. I want you to just hang here with us as we listen to our other two fine gentlemen. And that just brings us into Rose Smith. He's written a book, and his book is called The Fatherless Devotional, right? I hope you guys can see this. And Ro, you are a first-time publisher. I call this right now, what we're doing is a live practice, right? And you are here today on the platform, and I'm so proud of you. Ro is not only a published author, he is a father, a husband, he's my nephew, he is a choreographer, he is a teacher. He's got many roles. So, Ro, why don't you tell the people really about yourself and what it is you do, and give us the inspiration for your book.
Okay, hey everybody. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for that warm introduction. I'm amongst greatness on the cast right now. But to your question, I'm born and raised here in Indianapolis. I call her Aunt Nisi, but just everybody knows. Like she said, I am a producer, choreographer, director. I'm very much a creative, and I've been writing for a long time. I've been doing a lot of my writing because I grew up with just my thoughts, and I like to put all those thoughts on paper. And so I have a trough load or a bucket load of journals that I've had throughout my life. And so it's always been something within me. And so this opportunity has allowed me to reflect back on when I was young. And so when you're young, you have a different perspective. And then when you're older, you see things a lot different. So God put in my heart to provide a journal to get the men that I've encountered the opportunity to practice listening to themselves and reflecting on themselves and given the opportunity to actually dive into certain things and aspects in life that have, number one, have been challenges, and number one, of this, that have been achievements. And so the Fatherless was an actual personal story of mine, simply because my father and I, he's very much alive, but when I read Psalm 68 and 5, because he is the father to the fatherless, it definitely expounded my thought process as to how my father's journey and my journey, how they have been aligned. And sometimes when we don't see our fathers as humans and they have their own journeys, and as we grow into the young men that we are and we figure out things in life for ourselves, we come to realize that yeah, some things weren't there as we wanted them to be as young men, and we want to understand why our fathers couldn't connect. So I'm here to shed light to fatherlessness and what that looks like. And fatherlessness is not just the dads that are not in the household. Fatherlessness looks like my dad that is this shell of a human being that I grew up with, but didn't have the opportunity or the tools to connect with me. Fatherlessness is um, fathers that don't even know how to father or don't have the opportunity to father. And so those kids and us as youth have been there to just capture all the remnants of the things that they had to deal with. And we are here in this space of trying to figure it out. And that's what the Fatherless Devotional is for. It breaks down all of those situations in life that we've had to deal with growing up as young men and how they connect to our fathers in that retrospect. And so, yeah, and so it's a journal as well. There's prompts, there's conversations. It's very warm. It's not something to where it's preaching at you. It's an opportunity for anybody, wherever their walk is and with Christ, or that can connect with it. And so it definitely provides productive dialogue to where it's peeling away a lot of layers that you probably dealt with throughout your lifetime.
That's very good, Roland. Just so that you all know, Roland and I how's the saying go? All skin folk ain't kinfolk, and all family ain't blood, right? So many of us have been blessed, as I have with Roland and his mother. Many years ago, when Roland was just a little guy coming to preschool for the very first time, and he had the sweetest little cry because he and his mom, they have terms for it now, a separation anxiety. But Roland was not happy about having to come to preschool on that first day. And I saw this beautiful, bright young man with his mother, and she's trying to hold it together, and he is walking up the walkway. And when I tell you it was like glory and sunshine around this mother and son, my heart just opened up. And I tell you, from that moment to this day, Roland has been a part of my life. Roland was even the ring bearer in my wedding, and I am so proud to see you grow up. And that's our story, and I have to tell it, Roland, I know. But you have just matured into such a man. And I too, Roland, your story not only ministers to men, but it also ministers to women. It ministers to the fatherless. I'm still eating from it, but there's a chapter in your book when you just ask a real good question about how are you feeling. And usually we don't really stop. People say, how you feeling? And we'll just say, oh, I'm fine. But I have found, even in my own journey, having had a non-resident father and a non-emotional connected father, there's a certain proclivity, that a sense of abandonment that really permeates throughout your relationships. Can you kind of speak to that when you ask that question, how are you feeling? What were you really wanting to get from the reader there?
Thank you for asking that. I did that on purpose because a lot of people approach books as to like, we're about to have this person telling us what to do. And I didn't want to have that perception at all. I wanted the book to be very interactive, and I wanted it to be like a conversation. And the conversation the conversation starts with us getting to know each other. And of course, before that is like, yeah, how are you doing? and then how are you feeling? And those two different questions are two totally different perspectives. And a lot of us go towards what's good, but a lot of us are not in the space to where I can give light to what's bad. It's okay to be not okay. And I want you all to shed light to that. And I want you to be able to make sure you sit with those feelings, because that's going to allow you to take your journey authentically in the book.
Awesome. Awesome.
Man, you know what? I feel like I am a little bit unaccomplished. I need to write something. I need to do something. I need to do
Come on
something.
out Sunday. Come on out Sunday. Yes. Come on.
Hey, so Ro, I appreciate you being here today, for sure. Uh, you spoke to the fact that, what if you're a kid that came up with several different, not fathers necessarily, but father figures? Like, can you speak to how that either helps you or hampers you?
Hey, that is my story. I've had many men in my life that have been there to give me those um, intricacies and those lessons that I didn't really receive from my dad. And so that village within itself definitely shapes my direction and my trajectory. But at the same time, and I talk about this in the book as well, you always have that longing, right? Like, even though you have everybody in your circle that's there to be there for you and to give you direction, that longing is always there. And and I kind of like give an analogy of, you're sitting in a movie theater, right? And you have all of these people that come by that ask you, is this seat is taken? That could be your uncle. That could be your friend. That could be a mentor, your godfather, but you always leave space for that one that you always wanted to have there to be connected with you. But until you are open yourself to allowing them to be there to be your village, you won't glean from it. And so I really do think that even though a lot of people do have that village, and I take it to heart. Like, I don't take those relationships for granted. There's been a lot of good men in my life and still in my life. But at the same time, that longing is still there. And this is what that book is for, to deal with that longing and give you permission to deal with those feelings.
It's
Hmm.
outstanding. I appreciate that because just I was a guy that played sports, so I had a lot of coaches and different men that taught you different things. This man teach you how to fight. This man teach you how to love. This man teach you how all those different things, right? So no, very cool. I think it's going to be a useful tool for lots of men out here in the world, especially now. I think families are struggling. I think when I say I say families on purpose because even if it's just a mom and a son, or mom and a daughter, or whoever, they're still families and they're struggling out here. That with I work at do a lot in schools, and you just see a lot of people having a hard time. A lot of children having a hard time with adult supervision and all these kind of things going on. So I think so far everything we've done is speaking to try to make the family stronger. So I definitely appreciate all that I've learned today. Evelyn, you got anything?
Yeah, before we wrap it up with it, I just see that, you've got some really good chapter titles in here. The process of becoming speaks very loud. And what are you willing to surrender? You ask some great questions in your book, setting your foundation, becoming, and then the brotherhood. Rollin, it sounds like from your table of contents, you've really gone through the process of nurturing. What did you say here? Nurturing that inner boy. Can you speak to some of those things? Because you really touch on some real hard hitting self confrontational conversations.
Yeah, nurturing the little boy was I had a hard time writing that chapter, to be honest. I actually cried, to be honest. I had to take some time away just so I can really be authentic and walk away from it and come back to it, because it definitely allowed me to, I want to say, tear off the band-aid or some things that have happened in the past, and I had to relive that stuff again. But especially with nurturing that little boy protected me for so long. That little boy has been riding and dying with me, and being uh, that sense of, like I said, protection throughout my life. And when I got to that point as an adult and realizing I had to let that stuff go, that's when I was okay to say, okay, I got it from here. I can move on. And then once I let that little boy go, I was able to start seeing and hearing and taking a different perspective, because forgiveness is one part of that, is a part of that too. If I don't forgive what my father didn't do for me, and again, it's not about him, it's about me. And in order for me to thrive, I have to let a lot of that stuff go. And I can stay in this space, or I can go on and live my life and be true to myself and be in my truest and best form. Um, those other chapters spoke to, like I said, the conversation, it definitely continues on from the chapter before. And so the process of becoming is where you get to that point to where, hey, I am in this cocoon, and I'm about to open up, or just take a whole new journey to where I have been on in the past, and I'm looking forward. And that includes you building your relationship with God. Number one, He is the ultimate Father. And the number two part is realizing, hey, Jesus Himself had daddy issues. If you think about it, He came in here. His dad wasn't his actual true dad here on earth.
You
He
mean
had
he
to
had a
have a spiritual
stepdaddy?
connection with, yeah. He had a spiritual connection with his father. He didn't see him every day. He had to talk to him in spirit. He had to figure things out on his own. Quiet time. So it's just like, if he could manifest and walk through his calling without his earthly, his father being here on earth, and God giving him a fatherly example here, why can I do it too? You know what I mean? So I'm taking that same example, and I'm just spreading it around so people don't think that they're out here by themselves. The ultimate person has the same issues just like we did, and we just got to follow him. So
That's lovely. That's lovely.
I've never
Yeah.
had this many goosebumps in a conversation ever. I don't know what's going on here. I'm sweating under all these. I got to go step outside for a second. I appreciate that.
A
That was
change, oh, change is coming over
yeah,
me.
for sure. And by the way, folks, I didn't tell you this show is sponsored by Indianapolis chapter Indiana Black Expo. Also BMG. I got my shirt on proudly today, my jacket.
Love that.
Black Men's Group. So look out for different activities that the Black Men's Group are doing. Obviously, you want to see the next one. This is mentor program where we take boys and try to show them and give them experiences in everything from gardening, cooking, trying to tie, what's your suit size, all those fun things. Even how to drive a dump truck. It's really cool. So that's happening, but you won't be able to get to that. But I will tell you that then there's a health connection on Monday. So the 30th. There's a health connection going on the 30th. So this will be out before then. So hey, check us out. BMG, Indianapolis chapter, Indianapolis Black Expo. We appreciate you for stepping in. Holy cow. What do we
Wow.
I think we about to be in for it now. After I don't went down the YouTube rabbit hole today, and he's here. He's here. I'm excited. Sorry, Evelyn. I just got to. I just like I said, I'm sweating because of the first two. So I don't know what we're gonna get into.
Well, I just want to tell everybody once again the book is called The Fatherless. It's by Rose Smith, a passionate leader, mentor, and creative who has dedicated his life to inspire and help others heal, thrive, and walk boldly into who they are called to be. As the co founder of Life Moments, Rollin uses his platform to empower men, youth, and families through faith, coaching, and the arts. Rollin, we thank you so much for joining us today. He is going to be on the platform with us at Meet the Artist, Meet the Author, Meet the Publisher at Ujamaa Bookstore this coming Sunday, March the 29th. And I hope you're in the place, because if you're not, you're going to miss even more. Thank you, Rollin, so much. First time publisher. So proud of you. So proud of you. All right, now, and that brings us to what they say, the savior, the savor, the savor, the flavor, savor the flavor. We got published, Arthur Lost and Found, Mr. Lex, the gentleman in the house, who is a powerhouse. He is a spoken word artist, but he is among that. Lost and Found is an inspirational poetry collection that explores the themes of Christ, love, unity, letting go, faith, healing, strengthening family relationships, moving from brokenness to wholeness, and psychological projection. He's got poems that lift you up. I can't even hardly talk, because when I think about you, Lex, I'm like fangirl 102, right? Like not 101. I'm fangirl 102. You rode with me through on the mic at the Black Leaf Vegan last summer as one of my featured spoken word artists. I was so glad. Lex, welcome to the program, Neighborhood Frequencies, and I just want you to Go, go, go. Even if you have a piece, I'm going to talk to you about my favorite piece in the book. But everybody, welcome Lex the gentleman. Thank you so much.
First off, thank you so much for having me on. Moose, Evelyn Ray, thank you so much for having this event. Um, and with these amazing panelists, Gloria, Rowe. So my name is Lex the Gentleman, Alex Spearman, aka Lex the Gentleman. And I started poetry when I was young, but before I got into poetry, I started in the theater. So I was doing church plays, um, and spoken word just came out of that. There's a very close connection with the theater and spoken word, and that's one thing I always say. Like poetry, you write poetry, but you perform spoken word. And so I didn't realize, but through the theater, I was training me for the spoken word, and I ended up writing my first official piece for my then girlfriend when I was in high school, and it was called "To Love from Within." And I wrote the piece, and I saw the reaction that I received. So a lot of the things that I go off of is really the reaction of the people. So I saw the reaction, and I was like, I need to keep writing some more poetry. And so when I moved I found some different places around the Indianapolis area where I'm from. But it wasn't until I moved out to New York. So after college, after I graduated from getting my undergrad, I moved to New York in the Bronx. And when I was in New York is for those who don't know, is the poetry capital of the country and really, really the world. Um, and I was out there, um, connected with some very amazing individuals. Curtis Blow in Harlem. If those know Curtis Blow, I started a hip hop church with Curtis Blow in the Bronx and in Harlem, and I just connected with some dope individuals. But I would go to these spoken word places, and I grew up, in a faith centered family. So I grew up where we prayed together. Literally our whole motto was "A family prays together, stays together." So faith has always been an important part of my life, and so I would go to these different places, and I would hear these guys do different poems or perform spoken word with pieces where they talk about politics and just how angry they were at certain things. And I remember I asked myself, um, and I asked the God, really, Lord, what would happen if somebody talked about you in the same way that they're talking about politics, these things? And the Lord put in my heart, he said, that's what I want you to do. And so I went home, started writing. My first spoken word name was Seven, the poet, spiritual, which was an acronym, spiritual earthen vessel, encouraging nations. And so I went back to those same places and I did my first piece. And again, I saw the reaction from the crowd. Like everybody was on their feet. And I was like, okay, I may have something here, So I was encouraged by my brother Harlem 125. He's an amazing poet out there. He was like, hey, yo, Seven, you need to get into these churches. This deep New York accent. He's like, you need to get in these churches. They need you, son. And I was like, yo, word, word. He's like, yeah, son. I was like, all right. So I started going to the churches and I would do my spoken word. And then I started, and then I would go perform. I would have a line of five people standing outside telling me about other events they knew about. And I would go to those events, and then I would, and it got to the point where I was somewhere every night of the week in New York spitting, and people started recognizing me when I would be out on the streets. It just all just really just came from there. I kept it going, but then when I ended up moving back home to Indianapolis, like that fire that I had in New York, it wasn't as bright, you know. And so I really wasn't performing a lot. I kind of just sat down in the poetry, but then I started going virtual during the pandemic, and that's when the explosion happened again. Because I started going virtually and started streaming and doing my poetry, and started bringing the poetry to folks through the streams. And then I changed my name, and at that time I changed my name Lex the Gentleman, which wasn't supposed to be my poetry name. It was a name I just came up with while I was streaming, and the poetry just really blew up, and I just gave glory to God. And then through that, then I started really getting encouraged by folks on the stream. They're like, Lex, you really need to put out a book. I watched a sermon by Miles Monroe, and one of the things he talked about was when you leave this earth, what are you leaving the earth with? Like
Exactly.
what is going to live on after you're gone? And that just really stuck with me. And I'm like, man, yeah, I don't have any product, anything that's really going to live on while I'm gone. And so through the prayer and Gloria, and you talked about it earlier. You're talking about the different the birthing process, right? Where there's some birthing pains that I was going through. You know, I reached a point where I was like, you know, I was really down and out. Reached a point with some birthing pains, and it was because God was trying to release this right here. And so when I finally got to the point where I just, you know, truly trusted him, and I was like, you know, put myself around published authors, I ended up getting together, writing the book, and Lost and Found was birthed.
That's an amazing story. Sorry, Evelyn, I had to jump
You're
in there. You
okay.
know, saying a
We're
lot of
co-hosting. We're
Curtis
co-hosting.
Blow and and
I
all
know,
that. Like
right?
I'm like, tell me more. And then like I said, I pulled up some of your stuff on YouTube. At this one point, look, I gotta put these glasses on. It looks like you were doing poetry in front of 50. This says 56,624,955 people. This thing I'm looking at right here. That's absolutely amazing, right? And you was going off. That's the one I told you when you said when Jesus returns, is going to be returned to sender. I rewound that about 3 4 times. I'm like, what did he just say? How did he say that? Like, what is going on? Anyway, man. So I'm a big fan, right? Out the gate. And I just met you the other day, but I'm a big fan now, and will share your things going forward a lot, right? Um, so you talked about your first poem was to your woman. That's usually how we start doing something, right? Start doing something to impress the ladies, and then next thing you know, that might be our thing. You know what I'm saying?
Most guys I've had, it's funny because most poets I've had on my show, I do a show I've been doing 3 years. That's a lot of them. That's their first piece is to a woman they're trying to impress. So it's something about that.
outside of that, outside of that first time when you wrote for the young lady and you got the reaction, you say you spoken several times that you like the crowd to respond and that kind of thing. So take me to a show when you just going ham. People understand what that means when you just going ham and it's feeding you. Like what does that do to you?
Well, I would say the hands down the show that one show that really stands out was when I was in New York. I went to I was in the slam, a poetry slam, at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe, and that's the largest poets cafe. You're on that stage, like you've you've made it as the poet, you know. And so I made it to the semifinal slams there. And one thing that really stood out about that is because as I was sharing my pieces, you know, the piece that I made it to the semifinals, you know, was a piece where I'm talking about the Lord, you know. And one thing I found in the poetry realm, you have a lot of people, a lot of different beliefs, right? And so when it comes to rating poetry, you're going to rate high those poems that you relate with. Those poems you don't relate with, you're not going to rate them high. And so for the fact that I had all these really high ratings, you know, it just really just I was like, wow, you know, it just really moved me and let me know that that's when it really was solidified that I had something big there. And I mean, the crowd, you know, went crazy. So and I feed off of that. What that's like for me, I feed off of that energy. So when I'm doing a show and the crowd is responding, you know, I'm gonna get into it more. You know, sometimes I do even like my pieces where I do call and response like during my pieces, and I feed off that. It lets me know, you know. And I've had parents that have came to me like where I went to churches and performed. They're like, my little JJ, he ain't never spoke up. He ain't never sat up in church ever. You was up there speaking when I tell you he was sitting. He was on the edge of the seat. You know, he was like she's like, you can come back anytime. I'm letting the pastor know that you can come back anytime, baby. You know, but it's like when I hear things like that, that just moves me because that's one thing the spoken word does is it crosses all generational walls. It breaks down generational walls and it connects people in a way that no other art form does. And then it is the original art form too. So
It is. It is. Culturally, we are an oratory people. We tell oral stories. That's how a lot of the heritage and culture was handed down and passed down through our oral giftedness. And as you can see, we really set the stage for it with the rap, the spoken word, the poetry. In fact, even if we joning, we come up in a time when we just joning on one another. Man, your mama's so big, and just your mama jokes. You know what I'm saying? And so we appreciate the spoken word. But Lex, I definitely want to tap into one of my favorites, and I'm gonna just kind of ask you to read it for me. But one day I text Lex, and if you can see my book, I literally wrote in my book. Can you see it, guys? I wrote in my book the date that this thing spoke to me. His poetry really speaks to your spirit. But before you read that for me, I really want you to talk about Spoken Herb, your spoken word platform, which I want to thank you for having me on a few times. And we have this thing that we do, but talk to us about your platform and what was you said that started during the pandemic and how that has grown for you.
So, spoken heard. So my the platform that I've been doing my poetry on for now going on almost 4 years. Time flies. But it's called Spoken Heard with Lex Gentleman. And first of all, the name started because when I was growing up, I was very silent. Right, I didn't say a lot. I had an older brother and older sister. All the attention was really on my older brother, so I was always, known as Derek's little brother, And it wasn't until I went to college that I found my mother told me when I was young. She said, she's like, Lex, you have a lot of good things to share, but nobody will ever hear it if you don't speak and let your voice be heard. And that really resonated with me. And so I started speaking out. And so my show Spoken Heard is really all about that. My mother is a poet, and she has been on my show and performed. They call her Mama Lex, and so I just created the show, started doing um, the show every Monday. We do it every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's on an app called Tagged, so Tag Live. So download Tagged, and another app called Moco Space. At one point in time, it was on four different apps. It was on BLK, WorldStar, Moco, and Tagged. But now it's just Tagged and Moco. But yeah, we just have folks out. We have a feature poet for every show. We have an open mic every show, and have a little segment in the middle. And it's just an amazing time. We just come together, and it's almost like I can't believe that it's going on virtual. Like, it's one of those things, like, you get lost. You really feel like you're at a actual, like, a big a cafe, like a spoken word cafe, with your feet up, just sitting back, listening to all these amazing poets. And you were just on the last one, Evelyn. And yeah, so it's just amazing. So definitely tap in. The theme is "Come as you are, leave inspired," because you truly do leave inspired every time.
That's absolutely dope. So tag. So you said it's an app that you have to download or something on your phone.
Yeah, so yeah, free download. It's called Tagged, and then yeah, Monday 9 p.m. I even tell people, you can download the app, log in at 9 p.m., uninstall it when you're done, reinstall it. It's like, but you do have to have the app to view it. We're gonna, looking at getting on some other platforms and things where it's even more accessible. Taking the show to more accessible platforms for folks. But
I know someone. Just
Hey,
saying.
hey,
I
it's
know
all network.
someone.
It's
I
all
know a couple of
networking.
someones.
It's all
Yeah,
networking.
right,
I might I might know a guy or two and a woman or two. Anyway,
Couple women
uh,
and a couple men.
so I tell you what, this has been an amazing day. Now I have a question for all three of you. We'll go ladies first here, and then we'll kind of roll down the line. I'm sure that Queen Evelyn has a couple of questions for you too. So, like, what was the turning point? And this is the same question for each of you. What's the turning point that made it gave you the inspiration to go ahead and take that leap of faith to put your thoughts and words and in a lot of in a lot of your prayers and all the things out there in writing?
Well, for me, it wasn't. I was up against the wall, and it really wasn't any choice anymore. It was everywhere. Are you going to speak up? Are you going to do my will? Or are you going to perish in this? So I just had to do the will. And this wasn't my original book. I was in the process of writing two books, and I was impressed upon to write the Lord's book first. And so that would carry me the rest of the journey. So that's what I did. And every time I try to put it away, and I don't know, I know most authors are like this. You're like, okay, you know what? I have to walk away. You have to step back. You got to come forward. Step back, come forward. And every time you thrust yourself forward, but then you take 3 steps back. And it's sometimes it's hard that way. But once you break through that barrier, it's a done deal. You own and popping. And so that's what happens. We start popping once we break through ourselves and the journey.
Nice. I appreciate that. Rhodes, same question. When did you finally say, I'm going to do this? I'm going to make this happen?
It was a lot of back and forth. Like Miss Gloria, I was writing another book actually. It's called Church Folk coming to a shelf near you. But I was writing that and I was like, okay, this keeps coming up. And I keep struggling with it and I just need to get it out on paper. And then I know, like I said, when I read that scripture 68 and 5 in Psalms, that was like, I need you to put this out there. And the response that I've been getting from just having conversations with my brothers, and them really resonating with some of the topics, it's been amazing. And it was just like, Ro, you need to put this out there. So I stepped out on faith. And once I did it, and of course I had to deal with the internal struggle of the backlash of like, what is my dad going to think? How is he going to take this? I need to have a conversation with him. And so in letting him know that, hey, it's not about you, it's about me. But of course, he has to deal with and sit with his own stuff. But again, that's his struggle, not mine. And so once I leaned into that, I was okay with it. You know what I mean? And then of course the support of family, and they were behind me 100%. But yeah, once I made that first step, it was just time to go, and I just needed to do it. And once I honor him first, he'll bless everything else. So
Lex, you already kind of spoke to it a little bit, but again, where was that where you're like, I'm going in, I'm back in Indiana, and I just got to get this thing going again?
I had for me it was when I just reached a point where I was truly lost. I felt like lost, and I didn't know really what direction my life was going in. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I had a moment where I lost my wallet in the house. Right? I lost my wallet, and I remember searching everywhere, for this wallet. And when I finally found it, Lord spoke to me. He was like, "You didn't lose your wallet; it was just misplaced, right? And you just have to remember where the last place, you placed it." And he said that's the same way we are. Saying when we may feel lost, but the truth of the matter is we're just misplaced. So we have to remember the last place where we felt where we were found, and and for me that was in his presence. So for me it was truly placing myself back in the presence of God. And when I did that, I became found. And I remember I was watching a movie during this whole time, and Lord spoke to me, said, "Finish what you started." You know, and this was at the same time where all these poets, and I'm talking about on my show, I have poets from all over the world, from Africa, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and they were just like, "Lex, you need to put out a book." I mean, I'm talking about it was just like this kept on. And so this, they're saying it. I'm watching the movie, Lord saying, "Finish what you started." I'm like, let me put out this book. And so that's where Lost and Found just came from. And actually, the designer, my designer, she is in Africa, the one that did my book cover. But yeah, but it was a compilation of just all things around me. But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't put myself around published authors for a week. They were the only people I talked to for 1 week, and I put 26 poems together, everything together in 1 week. Because sometimes you have to set the climate, set the environment. Only certain flowers will only grow in certain climates. So I had to set the climate for the growth. And if I wouldn't have set the climate, you can plant a seed somewhere, but if that climate's not set, it's not going to grow.
Come on. Come
So
on.
And isn't that the
That's
word? It's
awesome.
what it
Yeah,
says
you,
in the
you, yeah, you,
word.
you dropped
Yes.
it on that. And it's funny
Yes.
because
Mhm.
you said something the other day that kind of spoke to me. And I want you to quickly, we got about 10 minutes or so. I want you to quickly talk about the what stuck in my brain. What you said, iron sharpens iron, and there's a men's group that you have that you started. Can you quickly speak on that, and then we'll move on to
Yeah.
Evelyn?
Yeah, well, my passion's always been for reaching out and seeing men succeed. I believe that uh, when in the Eden, in Garden of Eden, when the fall happened, first thing God did was He reached out. He said, "Adam, where are you?" You know what I'm saying? He didn't say, "Eve, where are you?" He said, "Adam, where are you?" And I think that's a cry that God is still crying out today. So, men, where are you? Not physically, but in your position with me, in your spiritual position, right? Where are you? And so that's my goal, is to answer that call, help answer that call. And so I started a nonprofit called Equip Men. Empowerment quickly unlocks inner potential, prepare, endure, disciple men, and that's what it's all about: is preparing, enduring, and discipling. Uh, uh, and so we started with a book club every first and third Tuesday. I partnered with the Slacks of Black Leaf Vegan Cafe. So first and third Tuesday, book club there. And we're just really just planning on taking it to the next level, just providing expungement and providing, housing, jobs, using poetry, using spoken word poetry to allow the men to have a platform and have a outlet where they can get out some of these things that are happening, whether it's, situations that have angered them, things that have just thrown them off in life, anything that's happened to them, life, they can have an outlet to get it out and use poetry, and where they can have the opportunity to have their own poetry book at the end of the program. So
That's nice.
All right. Big Moose, did you have something else?
No, I mean, I want to hear your thoughts on how today went,
Yeah.
Evelyn. If you had any final questions.
Yeah, I want to first of all just thank all of our guests on the program today. Neighborhood Frequency, you're doing the thing, and presenting these accomplished individuals to your listening audience is wonderful. But I do want to piggyback on the question that you asked them. If you can see back there in my background, my book, From Grief to Grace. This book is written out of my own experience with grief, having had to bury my firstborn son on the day after his 31st birthday, and having a living child one moment, and then they're deceased the next moment. So I share the story about grief, and there is a healthy way to grieve, right? There's a lot of grief in the world right now. A lot of our communities are experiencing a lot of trauma and loss, and grieving is not just grieving the loss of a child or loved one, but it's the loss of a marriage, a career, a dream, a desire, a hope, many things that we can grieve, even as Rose spoke about grieving, just an absent, an emotional, non-connected father, unconnected father, or spouse. So we have many areas of grieving, and so the whole book premise is you move from grief to grace, and there is a process of overcoming the pain of trauma, loss, and transition. Many things happen in our lives where we do have to pivot, and the most important thing about it is having a healthy grieving experience, but learning how to live with it. Many people don't want to feel it. In fact, many people often go into self-medication and abusing themselves, trying not to experience the trauma or the pain. But there is a healthy way to grieve. So I'm on the platform with some awesome producers of works, and I want to continue to share that platform with Ujama Bookstore being a partner of mine. We just want to always support our local community bookstore. It's our bookstore. We need such bodies of works in those bookstores. So guys, I want to thank you for being on Neighborhood Frequency today. I want to thank you for being a part of the show coming up on this Sunday. Your works are phenomenal. I don't want to leave without giving opportunity to Lex reading my favorite part in his book. And before I also do that, I want to make sure that I give my sister Gloria her shout outs too, because she is an accomplished, and I did not get to her bio, but I do want to make sure that you all understand. So while I'm pulling up her bio, can each of you tell where people can follow you, your social media, your website? We'll start with you first, Lady Gloria. Tell them where they can follow you while I pull up your bio.
I was great, be funny and say where my address is. No. But Be a Glow. Be a Glow is we're on. I am on Facebook. I'm working on a podcast right now. But right now, you can find me either under Gloria Carter or Be a Glow Ministries. And on Amazon. I'm sorry, my book is actually on Amazon, and I am the number one new release devotional. Starting,
Okay.
it came out in February the 1st. So snap, snap. So
All
yes,
right.
you
Yes.
can find it on Amazon on KDP Publishing.
Yeah, thank you. So I am on Instagram. It's called the Fatherless Official. So you can find us on there as the tagline. Also, if you're on Facebook, it is a group called Tap In. This is a group that I want men to actually to start to populate to, that actually any of this content actually resonates with you. The groups will be called Tap In. So this is like a tap on the shoulder. You're giving your opportunity to tell your story. I would love to hear your story. Because of the organization Life Moments, we use those stories and bring them to life so they can help inspire others. And then the last one, we are on TikTok, Life Moments, which is LMI Inc. And you can find the fatherless devotionals on there as well.
Awesome. Lex?
You can follow me on all platforms, TikTok, IG, Facebook, Lex Gentleman on YouTube, Lex Gentleman number 7, and also lexagentleman.com. If you and I also have, if you want a signed copy of the book, you can go to lexagentleman.com to get a signed copy. And my book is available. Lost and Found is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. You can just type in Lex the Gentleman, and it'll come right up. Like Gloria, I'm a best-selling poetry book. I've been a consistent best-selling poetry book on Amazon. So just type in Lex the
Awesome.
Gentleman.
Awesome. And I'll throw that right in there. Sister Gloria is a licensed marriage counselor, a grief and loss counselor devoted to supporting individuals and families through life's most tender transitions. Using a holistic person approach, family oriented and fun loving, she is a compassionate healer who creates safe, nurturing spaces where clients can feel seen, supported, and empowered to heal and to grow. That is our Sister Gloria. And I am Evelyn Ray. You can find me at evelynray.com. And my book is a bestseller on Amazon. I'm on Walmart and Barnes and Nobles. I'm excited to be in the circle with some fabulous producers. Big Moose, we want to thank you for this opportunity to be on Neighborhood Frequencies. And wherever we see this, we just want our people to know that we're here local. Once again, don't forget to come out to Ujama Bookstore. But I don't want to leave without Lex reading.
Wait, which one is your favorite, Evelyn? Because I
My
have no,
my favorite.
I have no clue.
It's spoken heard. It's on page 42.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah. Take us there, and then Big Moose.
I
You
tell you what, folks. Hey, I'm so glad you were here. This is an amazing group of folks came on Hollywood Frequency. What does it matter with me? I'm going way above where I was thinking. Neighborhood Frequency here in Naptown. Hey, this is Moose, aka Big House. My mama called me Chris, but I could not be on here without having a fancy name with Lex the Gentleman and all that, right? And so tap into what we're talking about. Make sure that you reach out to all these folks. They are some amazing artists, authors, and then you also get to meet a publisher on Sunday and soon. Hey, this Neighborhood Frequency, and when we're going out, we're not going out without some spoken word, and we're going to be spoken heard from Lex the Gentleman.
You're a leader, not a follower. You have goals you will achieve. So don't stop until you reach them. In yourself, you must believe that you're a victor, not a victim. It's by faith you see and do, and the only person capable of stopping you is you. The only person capable of stopping you from your dreams is the person in the mirror who is closer than they seem. See, we all go through struggles, aches, and pain. So if you find yourself struggling, no, it will not remain. Refrain from those people, placing things that try to bring you down. Just lift your eyes upon the Lord, and when you're lost, you'll be found. Don't drown yourself in sorrow, but continue to fight. And know that darkness is always darkest before the coming of light. So you were meant to be right here in the situation that you're facing. And God is all the strength you need so that you can keep on chasing your dreams. Do those dreams start chasing you? Well, see, many have been called, but the chosen ones are few. Who knew these dreams we dream would sometimes seem so far away? See, I learned within these moments, you just got to press and pray. You're okay. Yeah, you're okay. Exactly where you are. So let your action give you traction as your faith sets the bar. It's time to be the inspired fire that you want to receive until the embers of your flame will make others believe. Receive the words you've heard. Feel the heat, feel the warming, and know that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Allow God's peace to put the pieces of your life together back as one. And the hope that's placed inside you is what will help you overcome. See, you are braver, you are stronger, you are more loved than you know. And I hope that you still feel this and continue to grow. Just know there's someone out there right now that's waiting on your word. So don't stop speaking, don't stop seeking, but let your voice be heard. That's that peace.
And on that, we out.